I just kind of put together that you were more geared towards like being a hip hop journalist because I've heard.
Just so I can know where to start it.
Okay.
All right, so Brian, welcome back. Inquisitive Mind Lewis T. Brian Granger, part 2. I like to start the second one. So Brian, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Instagram, Granger9680. On TikTok, please somebody.
Are you really on
add
TikTok?
me, friend me on TikTok.
Are you really on TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it hurts my feelings because nobody likes my shit on there. If you're not dancing, I just got.
I was about to say, are you doing dances?
No, I got a couple clips of me doing comedy on there. I haven't really figured out how to get hyped on TikTok. How you?
I'm too old to.
You gotta get people to like you. Nobody likes my shit, and I go to bed depressed every night. Nobody will even follow me.
But everything I see, I don't see people doing comedy. Only kind of comedy I see is voiceover comedy.
Right,
so,
yeah, I see that.
Like people take like a Kevin Hart clip.
Yeah.
So it's like they'll take somebody else could take one of your stand-up routines and then voice and act like they're saying it.
Yeah.
And that'll probably go viral.
And that should have getting like 9 million hits.
But you saying your own original thing, nothing. Like I should voice over. I should start a TikTok, and I just do all your skits. You know what I mean? Like,
well, there's a lot of costume changing.
Yeah.
You know, one of them that I was doing on there was about Lincoln being racist and saying the word nigga. You know, and I made Lincoln a racist character. You know, because I mean it was still back in the late 1800s, you know what I mean? He might have not been like, he probably wasn't beating niggas, but he probably called niggas niggas.
Yeah, and that needed them to be in their place.
Right, and that's what I mean. He emancipated us, but he didn't give us equal rights.
Yeah, and he only did that to cripple the South.
So
he didn't do that out of the kindness of his heart.
But was he that nice to niggas? That's what I was trying to figure out. Was he really that understanding and just, hey, everyone
I've
in
never
my house.
heard, because, I mean, to be honest, back then, pretty much black people was almost the equivalent of a really good horse. You know?
Right.
And, you don't want to, or a dog.
Right.
Like, I feel like when you say dog, that's bad, but white people really love dogs. So that shouldn't be a down. I don't no knock.
Right.
Saying dog, but it's like he was like, well, no, you can't just be whooping a dog. You got to treat the dog with respect.
Like these dogs have brains and
exactly.
And dignity, just like you.
Yeah. So it's like it's property. But it's like no, you got to keep these dogs in the wild. You can't own them.
Right.
Can't own these pets.
Right.
These are wild.
They do better.
Speaking of what, see, that's why you need to watch the Tiger Joint on Netflix.
Right.
Because it goes deep in that whole
white people wanting to tell another species what to do.
Man, every episode is a different layer deeper. You think and.
I have not seen Tiger King. I'm the only motherfucker.
There's a couple people, but you got to get on it, man. I could swear you would do a whole, if you did, whenever this is over, you go to Dead Crow, you did a routine, you could do a whole set on Tiger King and you would kill it.
Okay.
It just for motivation of that. But it gets so deep. I don't even want to spoil it, but I don't know, the memes probably are spoiled, but in reference to what we're talking about, there's two people that have beef. And and what interests me, you got me in it. There's a spot in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I heard that.
Myrtle Beach, and I ain't been to the actual safari, but I keep forgetting the name of the mall. But the mall they have where you can come pet, you can take pictures you can pay money and hold a tiger.
Yeah.
And so there's the woman in Tampa who's like, no, you shouldn't be able to take pictures with tigers and. Pretty much they're like using the cubs and stuff like that. And there's just a whole bunch of drama. And there's so much, and those are not, the woman's one of the main characters. The guy in Myrtle Beach is just like a side character. And then the Joe Exotic is the main guy,
Right.
And he, like I said, it's like an onion. Was that my phone?
Yeah, it wasn't mine.
Okay.
Right.
Well, anyway. That's why I want the iPad so I can just have my phone and I don't have to worry about it. Anyway, coming to April 15th, hopefully. After that.
So these guys have, I guess it's two different sides of people that are talking about the exploitation of these animals, and then one is like, fuck it, make money.
But that's just like that's just the surface level of it. And you start peeling it back, and you got one group, one dude married to a bunch of different women. You got one guy that's married to a bunch of different men. You got one woman that might have killed her husband. You got one guy that like running for president. It just get crazier and crazier until the very end.
So it's validated. You like you actually that entertained you.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah. It's not just funny for white people. Speaking of which, one of the things is you're a performer. You're a comedian. I don't think we said that for this one.
Nah.
Do you do a different? Do you feel like? Do you have to gauge the room? Do you do a different act for a predominantly Caucasian crowd than you do for a black crowd?
I haven't done a predominantly black crowd in many years. I just recently did one, and they don't come as often. So for me, where I'm at, most of my crowds are going to be, I guess what you would say, just a blend. But for the most part, Caucasian here in Wilmington, because I'm down at Dead Crow. Or if I get booked at breweries, gigs. You get black people in my crowd sprinkled here and there. And no, generally I don't water it down in any different faction of it. My character is my act on stage.
Yeah.
So I can't really water it down. Sometimes I've had people ask me to be clean, and
I remember you asked me when I booked you. You asked me about that, and I was like, "Nah, do you?"
Yeah, I mean, I have to be very, upfront with it because I can't offend people that are paying me.
Yeah.
If you're paying me, it was like, I gotta know exactly what you want. Now I know whether or not to decline or to take the job. But yeah, for the most part, I can't really. When I had to practice with doing black rooms, they want you to entertain them. You know what I mean? So you can't have a lull in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no down point. White rooms, I can have a down point and then bring it back up. Black rooms, you can't have that lull.
It's build up, and then bam.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, you can't have it because they will fucking boo you. They will talk over you. Like they will.
So there's a difference.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more energy, and like you actually get the honest feedback of your comedy during the black room. Like they, black people ain't gonna bullshit you if you're not making them funny. White people will bullshit you. They'll entertain the little clever jokes and really.
Because they don't know if you're saying something over their head that might be funny and they're not getting it, and so they want to look like, or if it's just like, I didn't find that funny.
Right. If black people don't get the joke, and they don't get the second joke, then they talking over you. Yeah. Then niggas is talking on their phone.
Motherfucker, boo.
And then
Boo.
And then the other table is talking to the other table like, this motherfucker is not funny at all. And you be like, oh, excuse me, miss. I'm right here. I can hear you. It's like, fuck you and your little jokes. You know what I'm saying?
Who's? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so who's someone that you look up to, like, far as comedy? Like, do you model yourself after someone or like inspiration?
So many different people. Just because I've been doing it for, since like 2002. So I've gone through different phases. I've gone through phases where different comedians have always influenced me. So I guess it started off with Eddie Murphy when I was a kid. Now, this is what I've always known that I wanted to do. So when I saw Eddie Murphy when I was like 5 years old, I said, yes, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I knew it.
Which one? Do you know which one? Was it like one
Oh,
of the specials?
Delirious. Yeah,
Delirious.
it was Delirious. And then
That
I
purple
started.
suit? Delirious purple suit? Or red suit? No, Raw was red suit.
Raw was
Delirious was purple suit.
No, Raw was purple suit. Delirious was red suit.
Okay.
And Robert Townsend's partners in crime.
Shout out Robert Townsend. Like people, I feel like even though I researched it, he is out there still getting his paper. Like he's working on like Black Lightning and some other like producer credits. But I still don't think Robert Townsend gets the just due.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
he's the man behind the men.
Yeah, because like Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, then you get the Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Like you know what I mean, and then.
And that's the thing, Robert Townsend actually, what I've always found interesting with Hollywood, and I was like, how come there's never any sci-fi that goes on with black cinema? We have this big boom of just like how black movies took over towards the 90s and everything, as far as what people, but the missing edge was the sci-fi, the horror, all those things that we don't get associated with, and then you get Black Lightning or you get Black Panther. But Robert Townsend was one of those first people that pioneered that.
But I think that almost might have been his downfall.
Oh yeah. That's where you start losing money when you do a high budget.
And Eddie Murphy's downfall.
Yeah.
And Damon Wayans' downfall.
Yes. Nobody liked Pluto Nash. I thought Pluto Nash was great.
I've never seen it. I don't think I've ever seen Pluto Nash.
It's actually a really good movie.
Still was bad though.
Shaq.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. No,
that was bad.
I ain't never seen the Shaq movie.
Yeah.
I knew better after the albums. I was like, I'm not going to watch it back.
I mean, his album, I feel like his albums was decent.
Jeff produced them. That's why. So
and he had the money. Like
Def Jeff as a producer. You had Diamond, Dallas. What was that dude's name? Austin. Yeah, Diamond Dallas Austin. I mean, that dude was doing, if you wanted to hear some rugged shit.
He had the
Prince. Jay Prince was probably all over that shit. I mean,
Fushnikins. Oh, so Eddie Murphy.
Robert Townsend, partners in crime. I modeled myself after that. But when I started actually doing comedy, there were several people that just kind of took me back to the drawing board. So anytime, this is the thing. It's always. I've never dealt with the business aspect of it because I've always been trying to hone my act. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, you need to put yourself out there and you need to go out there. And I was like, well, I'm not an act. You know what I mean? I don't need to be getting paid for something that I wouldn't pay for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was watching these other people, Bill Burr, David Arnold, Louis C.K., Mike Epps, you know what I mean, Arnez J, like all these people that I was actually seeing in real life do comedy.
So you have met Bill Burr?
Yeah, I did meet Bill Burr.
So who out of the five you?
There was no lie. I forgot the lie part of it.
Oh.
So all those people I actually have met. I guess you could say the only lie would probably be Ludacris because I didn't technically I wasn't sitting there talking to him. Mm-hmm. I was just at the Laugh Factory. He was upstairs with me, and I got on.
For y'all who's talking or don't know what we're talking about, on Facebook, you have they're doing the 5 famous people you met, and one's a lie.
Yeah.
And I was gonna get into 2 of those, but he just reminded me. He said Bill Burr, but anyway, it was Bill Burr, Ludacris, Lil Zane, Don Cheadle, and Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
And I was trying
met all those people. Not one of them's a lie. I met all those people, and I didn't think of throwing in there that. And afterwards, once I read it, all I heard was I was like, oh, well, I met these people. But everybody that I've come in contact with thinks that the Don Cheadle story is a lie, and I
was going to ask you what is the story, but I want to come back to that because when you're talking about Bill Burr, Louis C.K., and all that, you're somewhat, or would you consider yourself a hip hop head?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you listened to? And I feel like he comes out every podcast lately on the Red Couch. Have you listened to the new Royce da 5'9"?
No.
All right.
I like Royce.
The new album, and I'm now a Royce fan, but there's a song called, I think, Overachiever, something. It's featuring Benny the Butcher. And he has a line where I think he's talking about Bill Burr says it so loosely because he's used to saying it. Talking about the N-word. Because then, Bill Burr just had the recent N-word, like he slipped and he said the N-word? It was about 6 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And then and the other line is say Louis C.K. won't say the N-word in front of, he'll say it in front of Pookie, but he won't say it in front of DL. So he's pretty much saying, yeah, you get, yeah, he's saying,
I get the reference.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Because Louis C.K. and Chris Rock are boys.
Right.
But DL ain't, DL
Hughley is a real
nigga.
yeah, he's a blood too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I don't know that. I'm not gonna say he's associated or whatnot, but I mean he comes from that. He comes from that neighborhood. He comes from Inglewood. He comes from like Queen Street, like around that area. I think somewhere around that area. But yeah. So yeah, he's from the set.
So how do you feel about white comedians using that?
I feel like it's about as good as your rape jokes are gonna say. Do it. Keep doing it and bombing while you do the shit so that I can come up and clean up after you. You know what I mean? Because this is a one-man game. I give comedians terrible advice and they still listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm like the oldest hooker on the block. And they'll be like, oh, well, you got 17 years in the game. I'm like, yeah, but they're not successful. I can tell you everything. I tell people, don't, like you said to me, don't stifle yourself. If you feel that nigga joke is going to work for you in the long run and you have to commit to work at it, keep doing it. It's not going to personally.
So you're not necessarily personally offended as a black man or a comedian.
No.
But just it ain't a good look for them.
No, that joke that Louis C.K. did, one of them out of the few times that he's done it was funny. The shit was funny to me.
Yeah.
Some white comedians can do that and it just gets obnoxious. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you even? That was just obnoxious. It's not offensive. It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in the sake of comedy, it's offensive. You know. If you're gonna do it, you can make me laugh.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite movie right now is The Hateful Eight.
Oh, I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan too.
I am too.
I know Spike Lee hates him, but
I love Spike Lee.
I do too.
But Spike Lee also incorporates that element. I was like, how you gonna, be mad at him for doing the exact same thing that you do? And probably that's why he hates him for it. He's like, oh well, you just take what I do and do it your way.
Yeah, but sometimes there's I wonder did Run DMC and other people kind of hate Beastie Boys because you look at it, Beastie Boys had an easier transition through music because they're white.
The only white successful rap artist there ever were, aside from Eminem, and I'm gonna say Post Malone now because I don't know
He's not
any
MC,
other.
Though. Third Base.
Post Malone, they weren't successful.
You don't think Third Base was successful?
They were successful as far as making hits for the culture, but no, they didn't make money like that. I don't think that them dudes really made money like that. Beastie Boys make money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Throughout the decades of things. And Eminem definitely
made money.
Definitely a mogul. So Third Base, yeah, I could give them that because they had some dope albums, but I don't go and listen to Third Base at all right now. I'll go dig up DOS Effects before I listen to Third. I'll listen to Eazy-E before I listen to Third Base.
See, I would listen to Third Base before I would listen to Eminem. Pop Goes the Weasel, Gas Face,
yeah. Everything that didn't
step into the AM.
None of that stuff got street cred. Nobody said, "Oh, I'm gonna give you the gas face." Like that went on for like 6 months in the hood, and then people didn't do that.
Yeah.
And then Pop Goes the Weasel was a good, good front on
white on white crime.
On white on white crime, ARs dealing with people like with that, and talking about phony people and all that other kind of stuff. But like I said, it's just stuff that didn't really catch on as far as any culture. It didn't catch on with white people, and it didn't really catch on with black people like that. And they looked at MC Search like, oh, this nigga's trying too hard, and then you got to get the Godfather dude out of the picture. Your hype
Prince
man.
Paul, Nice, Greg, not Greg Nice, Pete Nice,
Pete Nice, something like that. But he had to go, so they got rid of him, and then you had this emergence of like white dudes that stepped in as far as being producers, like Drew Ha with Boot Camp Click and all that.
I just saw a clip of Drew.
And like, we'll just stay in the background now and support.
The fact that you know who Drew Ha is.
I am a hip hop man. I'm telling you, man.
But I saw a clip randomly, and Drew Ha was actually rapping. I was like, oh no, you tried to rap at one
Was
point?
it bad? It wasn't good.
I mean, it was drunk. He was like on stage rapping. Right.
Why wouldn't you? It's like, hey, look, man.
When he was young, he was obviously young.
I had half of y'all on. Let me come out here, because that's.
Oh no, this is probably before. I'm sure Sean Price would have smacked the shit out of him.
They want to do it. You know what I mean? So, you found a definite, was like, hey, look, you can support, but why not just let everybody else?
Yeah, you use your white privilege to help us
out.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. And, Jews and hip hop, since the Beastie Boys, have kind of just always coexisted. So you can't take them dudes out of it, because they do, definitely have different connections to make the edge out to catalyst the street culture. Niggas that you did not want to see normally. It was like, oh, they made that beautiful. Dreadlocks and, everything part of the culture. They made that, not Jews, but Hollywood made that appealing.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted now. That, even black culture kind of looked down at that. In Louisiana or whatnot. You listen to certain black comedians and during social cultures and stuff talk about how ugly hip hop artists are. They talk about how ugly Biggie was. And this is from black people.
Yeah.
And people in our culture are definitely a little bit more, if you were to try to come out as Biggie Smalls in the 60s, you know what I mean? They wouldn't have let it happen. If you was Lil Wayne trying to be an artist, you know what I mean?
I wish people would stop him now. Every time, like, he got a recent interview on Drink Champs with Nori, and he just looks so bad. Like, there's two, I couldn't even watch it. Like, there's two Drink Champs that I can't, like, Lamar Odom has one on there, and I can't even.
Was he that high? Yeah, he was
it's just cringeworthy. Like, there's a point, because you see clips and stuff online before the whole episode come out, and it was just like it was almost like a standoff between him and Nori at one point.
Right.
And like, it's just cringeworthy. Like, I can't, like, I'm sure it's good, but
you're not gonna even entertain.
I gotta be, sometimes you gotta just be in the right mind state.
Yeah.
But so speaking of that. Like, I wish I could think of names, but if you watch this, I'm not good at names. Back in like the 80s and probably even more than that, comedy and hip hop used to kind of go together. You could like have you could have a hip hop tour and like have a comedian open up. Is that still prevalent? Do you ever do the two intermingle?
I hope not. I couldn't.
You don't think the two go together anymore?
Yeah. I think that if the comic was a headliner.
So musicians can open up for comedy, but comedy can't open up for music?
No.
Why?
It's not a good, because people don't want to see, unless there's music incorporated with the act. Like,
so like a Lil Duval. Like, how do you feel about Lil Duval?
Doing that? I think it's a lot, but I mean, how successful is it? Other than having a hit album. You know what I mean? He's got a hit single. But it fizzled. You know what I mean? He did it. Don't get me wrong. He did. And that's the thing. A lot of comedians, you get guys like that are, you know, I don't know how you guys call them, but, you know, Renaissance man that always want to do, they just have, they're not just great in one thing. They were
Jamie
great.
Foxx.
Yeah, they're great at multiple different things. So it was apparent that Duvall was great at making music, but people ain't gonna take you. You know what I mean? They're not gonna really. They're gonna try and wonder like, are
how
you?
Did Jamie Foxx
you doing this music thing?
Get a maneuver around that?
I didn't. I've never bought a Jamie Foxx album. Me personally,
like a music album.
Yeah, and I like R&B, but I've never been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy a Jamie Foxx album. It just never resonates with me. It's the marketing thing that you're dealing with. You know, there's a lot of people that probably don't even know Jamie Foxx other than from music. You know, a certain generation of people that be like, oh, you mean Jamie Foxx the actor? I'm like, no, Jamie Foxx the stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, I love his albums. You know, so they wouldn't even know Jamie Foxx from being anything other than that. I think it's definitely a bright business move on Duvall's part to do that, because you know that the money don't really come in with stand-up comedy after a certain time. You do have to find something else unless you really that dedicated to it.
Before Smile, you like Little Duvall. Someone on that caliber, would he be able to support himself just off comedy? He
did. Yeah, I mean, he made money off of comedy. Decent enough money. Yeah. You know, he wasn't hurting. So comedy definitely gave him the plateau.
So what level are you in that? Something better happen, like, because I feel like sometimes when you see comedians that almost come off like hating, you wonder how their pockets might be hurting. Like Aire Spears, a lot of times come off as a hater.
How though? You know what I mean? Like, you always wonder.
He's not as funny as he think he is.
He had to have made some money. That's what I mean. Like,
that's why he comes off as a hater.
No, he's just a dick. I met the dude. He is an asshole. Genuinely, 100%. Maybe he's just an abrasive personality. But I met him one time when I was going to the Laugh Factory to go use the bathroom, to go take a piss, because I drank Hennessy a lot. Oh, I got to pee. In between doing shit, I go in there and this nigga got the bathroom kind of like halfway locked, but it's not a great bathroom in the comedy, or it was a Laugh Factory. Maybe it was okay. Either way, no, it was a Laugh Factory because I had to come downstairs, go there. I get in there and this nigga's kind of got he's like, hey, yo, close the fucking door, and he's in there rolling a blunt in one of the stalls. Close the door, I'm trying to roll a fucking blunt. And that deep New York accent like tried to intimidate me. Now I'm grown at this point. Now I'm not like his age, but I'm like 27, 29. I'm like, yeah, Aire Spears. Yeah. I was like, hey, look, it ain't that big of a deal here in California. You can roll a blunt in the bathroom. You ain't got to lock the whole fucking bathroom, man. Like, hey, I got to take a leak. So much to do. I was like, this guy's a fucking dick. And that was the next thing I did when I got out of. I was like, have y'all met Aire Spears? This nigga's an asshole.
You said that on stage?
No, when I was just asking random people, like, that guy is a fucking asshole. That was my first impression of him. And they're like, yeah, he's a dick. And certain people are dicks. I've heard that. I've heard the names of people that are really some true, genuine assholes that'll hurt your heart to know that they just. I don't know what would change them. That's why I don't want to be
famous.
Nah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't. No, I do want to be famous, but I want to. You know, you don't know who you meet throughout the day-to-day basis, and now, for the most part, I'm very naive. So certain people that I would run into, I would learn the hard way of being famous. You know what I mean? Like, everything would happen to me. And you got to wonder what happens to a point where somebody just is disheveled and they can't handle that. You know what I mean? Just everybody being in their face or something. You know, that nigga might want to smoke a blunt in the bathroom. He's still got these crazy ways. Like, what are you in high school? You know what I mean? You got to roll a blunt
in a bathroom.
In a bathroom.
Like, you should have your own room.
Right. Or be in the car doing that. Well, like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you don't got a green room? Was he performing that night?
Yeah, of course he was. Yeah. I'm sure he was. I didn't watch it, but, you know, I drove buckets in Los Angeles. Like, I either had a bucket or I had to take the bus. And you know, if I'm smoking, I'm an avid smoker. I'd smoke. I had ways of keeping it, and you know, to go lock a whole bathroom up. Yeah. Just go roll a blunt, and then that's some juvenile ass shit. And then
it's not like it's I'm assuming it's not like it's the bathroom that everybody go to.
It was, yeah. It's the general people's bathroom.
Oh, so it wasn't like y'all don't have your own bathroom?
It was. I think it was one that basically it's not one of the bathrooms that you get to where everybody is using it. It was one of those bathrooms where either I had to come downstairs and use it or it was upstairs and use it. I can't quite remember because the Laugh Factory is 2 levels. So there's like a 2 level to it. But, you know, this motherfucker just going to think that he's that entitled to hold it. It's like...
He's on Mad TV.
Yes. Yes, and I'm happy for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I will fan out when I meet a motherfucker that I'm like, hey, yeah, man, you know, you are a great TV personality. You're not as funny as you think you are. Just like you said, like, you are not that funny.
You got some good voiceover. Like
you do that. They're decent.
Yeah.
But your act has not changed
since Mad TV.
Since Mad TV.
So how did you end up at a Christmas party with Don Cheadle?
So my girlfriend at the time was she was an intern for Don Cheadle's wife. So she took care of their kids. She would pick them up, take them to school. She was kind of like a nanny. During that time, I was actually going to break up with her. I was actually going to break up with her on Christmas Eve. And I didn't get her anything for Christmas. That was my way.
Did you not get her nothing? Is that why you broke up with her? Or you didn't get her nothing because you knew you were going to break up with her?
I didn't get her anything hoping that would spark it. Like, I was just trying to do things to make it easier. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to be an asshole.
It's hard. You know what I mean? To break up. It's not easy to break up with someone that you like but don't love.
Right. But, you know, I was in my late 20s, so I'm playing mind game shit. I'm just like, I didn't get you anything because I didn't have money. And usually, women that I would have been like, oh, you just didn't think about me. You could have saved some money and got me anything. You know, she didn't even make that fight with me. She was like, you know what? I know, but I got you something. I'm like, well, you don't have any money. How the fuck did you get me something? You know, like, oh, she said, I just got you a couple little nice things. She got me this shirt, which I still have to this day. Don't tell my wife. And then I got, and then I had this watch. She got me this watch. I don't have a watch no more. Nice watch. She said, I got you something nice because we're going to go eat at
Don Cheadle's house.
At Don Cheadle's house. I didn't know that's where we were going, though. She didn't say Don Cheadle's house. She said she was going to her so-and-so's house. Because Don Cheadle's wife is an actor. So she got a different name. It's not Cheadle. Yeah. And she was just like, you know, and I was like, all right, so we go do it. And when I get to this house, we drive up there and we get to Malibu and he's there. And it was Don Cheadle. It was the guy from 12 Years a Slave, Cheadle. He was there. And a bunch of little kids all around like this 2-level house, nice house. And a white chef that was making jambalaya. And I was spending Christmas Eve dinner with him in his house. Social media was was around at the time, so it was still Facebook, but this was during the age of like Blackberries.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And for me to be in that house, I really tried not to like, I know whose house I'm in. You know what I mean? But I wasn't in there taking pictures with people and being extra or
you were acting like you were supposed to be there.
I was acting like I was supposed to be there. Exactly. And I mean, there was, a lot of different people that were there, either his extended family or, friends or whoever they were. Everybody was in there.
So what year was this? Like, what is this?
It was like 2008, maybe 2000.
So this was before he was War Machine.
Yeah, either then or right around that time.
Okay.
I think it was probably right around that time that he was War Machine. I don't know. When was he War Machine?
That was later. Because he wasn't in the first Iron Man.
I left LA in 2010. So this was probably 2009, 2008, maybe.
Because the whole Marvel thing's been around 12 years, I think, total.
12 years total. So yeah 2008.
Yeah, so he wasn't
in that
because they had
start of it.
Right. Cuddy Man, Terrence Howard. The character he plays was originally played by Terrence Howard.
Okay, so when I had met him, and now mind you, Cheadle, of course, 12 Years a Slave hadn't been out.
Yeah,
but I knew that they were probably friends because of the movie that they were in together. Where he played Petey Green. So
what was that?
It was shit. I don't know the name of it. It's like just look up Don Cheadle, Petey Green story. Great movie. But I had already seen the movie, so I had fanned out between the two of them. I didn't know that dude was English. I didn't know that.
That got me with the dude from Get Out.
Yes.
Get Out, and he was in Black Panther and stuff. Like I was like, when he's talking, I was like, oh shoot.
Right. Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
And that's how I met that guy, because I'd already seen that movie with him and Don Cheadle in it, so I related him to that. But then when he started talking, and he was like, "Oh, my name is Cheadle," and then he starts talking British, and I'm like, "Oh shit! I did not expect that to come out of your mouth." I'm sorry, I asked his name like 3 or 4 different times. You could still hear it in me. You know what I mean? Like I was really overwhelmed in being in that situation with them people.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how cute of a couple me and my ex at that time was. I was like, yeah, well, I'm getting ready to break up with her. But y'all don't know that.
But we can still be
cool. But this ain't going to last more than a week after I get out of here. And I mean, it was really, really more of a organic experience that you ever have. I have no pictures to prove the shit. The only people that know it is me and the nigga Don Cheadle and his family and the white chef and
your ex.
My ex. Yeah, and I'm not gonna put names out there. This shit really happened. I tell people about it, they like, you didn't beat Don Cheadle. I'm like,
so I want to preface this. Tell people who is Little Zane.
Little Zane is a real street dude. Like he is not like he's not a goon. Like he didn't put a hit out in front of me or anything. But when I met him, me and him were smoking a blunt outside of the.
So Little Zane is a music or was a music artist?
Oh yeah. He's a rapper. But his big hit was from 112. I guess that. I guess you would say that was his breakout. But he's also kind of a Disney. He's a Disney.
I get him mixed up with Little Sean.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I don't know why I associate
Little Sean.
Little Sean because Little Zane, 112, but you got Little Sean with Biggie, so it's still kind of like Bad Boy. I don't know, and it's the Little.
Yeah.
I don't know, but go ahead.
No, so Lil Zane, I met him more than a couple times. Like Don Cheadle, I just met once. I don't call him up on Christmas and say, "Hey, how's the family?" Lil Zane I met more than a few times, and he would be at this mic that me and another dude he promoted it. He was actually the booker of the show, but he would let me host out in Hollywood. And Lil Zane showed up there, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Lil Zane." He's like, "Yeah, calm down." He's like, "I'm Lil Zane, but nobody else gives a fuck except for me and you. So just relax." And you know, he was just. He wasn't like that, but he was just a little bit more poised. You know, you could tell like this dude is a grown man at that point. I was like, I don't even feel like I should be calling you little Zane. Like you out here,
Mr. Zane,
right? You out
Big
there
Zane,
smoking the blood. I'm like, you got some real shit going on in your life. Like you look stressed like me, not bad, but you just look like
life.
Yeah, life. Like you look a little bit more seasoned. He wasn't an asshole. He's not jaded by his fame or nothing. He'd touch hands with the dude next to him and, act like a real regular dude. So that's how I can tell a celebrity from, a celebrity that's just been a little bit more coddled than from somebody like Zane. Because LA will mix you up like that. You know, that's the crazy part about LA. It's like you will be the fucking man for 2 minutes. You'll be down there and you got security around you and everything. And then if you don't produce that weekend, everybody fucking forgets about you. Now you're walking out on the street by yourself. And so then you start treating people like assholes. And like, no, you can still be touched. Like you don't have what you had last week. You know?
Yeah. So how long were you in California? Because you lived in the Bay and you were in LA. So how long, like off and on, were you in?
Probably about 20 years. So from my double digits on until my, early 30s. I think I moved back here when I was 32. And I would also move back and forth. But I would live here for about a year, 9 months, and then move back for a few years. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like, so I spent a good majority of my life in California. Now I moved back here when I think it was my 32nd birthday. Around that time, like maybe a couple days before I turned 32. And then I've been here since then. So now I'm 41, looking at almost 9 years being back home, essentially.
Yeah. So you feel like you're here for good?
Oh yeah. I mean, for the most part, objectively, California, especially now, we always get hit the hardest with the worst shit.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. I'm leaving Wilmington.
Like the Greensboro, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to go to Greensboro because I can't afford to live. You got to know where your property, where your tax money is, and like this is out of my tax bracket. Wilmington is white, always has been, always will.
Not always been.
Not always has been.
Prior to 1898, it was pretty black.
It was pretty black, but white people made sure that they were.
From that point on,
white. Yeah, they was like, this is going to be white town. So I've been immersed in white here, and I didn't really get it. Wilmington is Get Out, the movie. It is. Yeah. It is. It is a twilight zone of white. You're just like, oh my God. And you don't realize how whited you're getting until you get the fuck out of here. And it's like, oh, breweries, 5K rounds, beach. Oh, like get this shit out of my head. This is annoyingly white. It's annoyingly white here, like it's annoyingly black in Atlanta, probably. It's just like, it's too much black. I can't.
The difference is, though, in Wilmington, white people and black people intermingle.
Yes.
When I was in Atlanta, me and my friend and it was just my male friend, but we were the only interracial couple or group in Atlanta. We went through whatever the big mall is, and a bunch of black people, of course.
Yeah.
Some white people, but it was black people and then there was whatever white people, but there was no mixture of people. There wasn't no little biracial kids. There wasn't any like it segregated. It just appeared segregated as fuck.
Really?
Yeah. You know.
I've never really spent any time in Atlanta.
I mean, I've just recently because
That's how I grew up here.
You know,
I didn't know really white.
I grew
people
up like here. Me too. Like until
I knew white people from school, but
exactly.
my great grandmother never had white people around. Like I grew up on a juke joint spot in Dawson Street. You know what I mean? So white people were on her soap operas. That was the only interaction with white people that I would really get to deal with. So I didn't grow up in a white side of town. There was no white people in Gervais, obviously.
Yeah.
And so that was my only dealing with them. You know, dealing with white people was with my dad. My dad hung out with white people. You know what I mean? He kind of integrated me into that culture of white people. He's like, hey, is it so much better here? Everything works. And I was like, yeah, I guess.
I don't know, because, growing up, my senior year, I feel like, senior, maybe junior, and I grew up in Parkwood, which is now very, Lauff Gordon Road, so now it's very blended.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, it was a black neighborhood.
All black.
Middle class, all black neighborhood.
Right.
And in school, you know, pretty much, you had the sports people that kind of whatever because they play sports together.
Right.
Which I didn't play sports, and then one of my homeboys, he hung out with the white people, and that was a thing. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? You know, I like, and then one of my other homeboys, he was the first to kind of break that interracial barrier. He started dating a white girl, and it was a big. Like at that point, it was a big thing. This was 94, like 94.
Right.
That was, you know, and he's like, well, none of these, and his point was, you know, none of these black girls wanted to date me, so, but it was all the black girls that had something to say.
Right. He's like, they don't want to fuck me. He's like, I'm trying to get my dick wet.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, but we didn't know that he was the pioneer. Like he ushered that in, and you know, I'm sure everybody done had some.
That was it for me too, man. I mean, like, you know, you don't know what it is. My first real serious relationship, man. This is what kills me, man, because women have always been my downfall. But my first girlfriend was Latino. You know, my first sexual partner was an Arabic girl.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was Arabic and white. So I didn't lose my virginity. That was a black girl. She was Arabic. Like, her dad was Saudi Arabian. That was a black girl. She was mixed. For the most part, it was like a biracial chick. And then my first love was, you know, a Latino girl. She knows who she is. You know, big shout out to JC. Whatever.
JC?
You're like, oh God. But
Jason's good people.
When I first started going to school in California, Latino girls had titties in the 5th grade, and that was it for me. I was like, oh, I'm on board. This is the Garden of Eden for me. You know, I mean, they develop a lot faster than everybody else, and then all the other girls would hate on them. They're like, oh, she's a slut. She's just because she had titties in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
And so I took full advantage of that shit, you know, and that was what I was with. My first child is with a Latino woman. My baby's mother is Latino. She's Latino and black, but she's more Latino than black. And
what's that? Isn't that? They got a word now, like Afro Latino or
Blaxican.
No, it's like a Afro's in there somewhere.
Oh, okay, but yeah. She's Blaxican. She's black and Mexican.
Gotcha. Okay.
With big titties, big giant titties. My weakness. Just,
big titties are wonderful.
Yes.
It's a wonderful weakness to have.
Even more than ass, and I like ass so much, but big titties always trumps it for some reason. I don't know. If you got big titties and you got a big ass, I might. Well, if you got big titties and a flat ass, I probably would go with the big titties and flat ass versus the big ass and little titties.
Yeah, but you can always buy them some titties. Well, shit, now you can buy them some ass.
No, without buying. I got to deal with you. Look, not to objectify anybody, but if you're into being objectified, it's definitely, yes, big titties trumps a giant ass for me sometimes.
So one of the last questions while we're taking the Hennessy to the head, being a hip hop head, this is something I'm going to try to bring up on every episode.
Yes.
If you had what car was totally influenced to you by hip hop?
Car?
Yeah, vehicle.
Ooh, shit.
You wanted that car you wanted just because either you saw it in a video, you heard it in a song, or somebody rapped about it.
Probably the 69 Chevelle. 69 Chevelle, Chevy Super Sport. It's just a pretty car. That and a Nova, because it kind of got that same little crazy, curvy body back to it. But that's
is that from your West Coast influence?
Yeah, that's some Bay Area shit. 5.0. The 5.0.
Like in Minister Society?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Fox.
Yeah, I mean that 93 Sport GT. I actually had one, and and I would do anything to also get that car. So I've had certain different 5.0s like that. They weren't 5.0s. They might have been the LX. You know what I mean? A 4-cylinder, and then you go.
But the same body, the body
the
style.
Same body style. You take out the fucking 4-cylinder, and then you put in the 420 or the 402. Yeah. You go in there and make that bitch fit, and then put and you watch that car just fall apart because the actual frame of an LX can't handle that engine. They can't engine that fucking. Any of them, the Grand Interceptor, any of that shit that you try to put in there. I guess maybe the 402 it might, but you got to deal with all the shocks and all that stuff. But when you're younger, you just kind of throw them in there.
Yeah.
And science experiment with them, see what they work. Yeah, those cars. Yeah, definitely the old school West Coast cars. Have influenced me.
Any particular songs you can think made you gravitate toward those cars? Yeah,
Candy Paint, Peanut Butter by IMP, Ill Mannered Posse.
I don't even know who that is.
Right. It's this group from San Francisco, E40, the Bumble. So. And E40 when he first signed to a deal, because he was always independent in the Bay Area where we was from, so he was already a legend.
When Jive Records?
Yeah, when he went to Jive, the Bumble started off, he's like marinating on the corner with a chip in his phone. You could tell that the hillside was his home. He's like, more scratched than the rest of the pushers because he got a chop suey in the bushes. And then the beat drops. And it's just like, oh, shit. It's like this guy done went there and he shouts out like a couple different like car dealerships and whatnot. But, that the car culture was just a big thing in California. Yeah. Always. You were a bum until you got yo slab, like until you got your.
So slab, I thought slab was more of a Houston term.
No, they took that shit from us. Like all that shit comes from the Bay Area, not from us, but like a slab, like a low. You know what I mean? That's Bay Area shit. you know, or it has been migrated from like, most of those guys that are from the Bay Area usually have ties with having family in Memphis and Houston. So maybe it did come from there originally and then got to us. But when we started influencing, because you got to think, we kind of, aside from Miami, um, California was the gateway for putting Southern hip hop on the map.
Yeah.
Miami was actually the birthplace of it. Now, I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Miami is the birthplace of Southern rap.
Oh yeah, Two Live Crew.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Which
you want to talk
Two
about
Live
everything
Crew's
else?
technically from California.
Oh, okay, right. So
like Luke is from Miami. He is Miami.
From Miami.
But the Two Live Crew,
all those guys,
they were in like the military,
right?
And they were a West Coast group.
Okay, all right. So, but you know what I'm saying. So, Miami-based South music, that is the birthplace of Southern music. But when Master P came on the scene,
he also had West Coast roots. He
was out of Richmond. He was doing all these compilations. So the slang and everything that was getting interjected through one way or the other was going from him, and he wasn't. Nobody knew that he was New Orleans like that. We thought, Master P was Richmond. That was the Bay Area, and so he had a lot of people that he worked with and just kind of like made compilations with. So it's a lot of the slang that you hear as, for the most part, kind of Bay Area influence. Even the way that the records were sold, the independent doing the thing and all that.
Yeah, Too Short was like, I think he pioneered a lot of that.
Yeah,
that stuff. And it's like looking back, it's hard to think like Too Short and Hammer to me seem like two different. It's like Too Short was way before, but because I've heard Too Short talk like on Vlad, like Hammer's crew and Too Short's crew kind of had friction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something that I say behind any artist, there's somebody in the street, like any big artist. And Hammer was there, but his brother, I think his brother's name is Lewis too, actually, ironically. But Lewis was that dude.
He was the muscle.
Yeah. And tying it back to one of our earlier stuff, they had beef with Third Base. There was like a hit out on, rumored that they had a hit out on Third Base. Like they had to like pay this dude to kind of get him out there. Like they had other gang security, and it was like, it got ugly.
Yeah. Because I mean, Too Short basically Too Short is from St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Originally, he's from East St. Louis, so he's not an original. He's not original from the Bay Area. He's from there, but he wasn't from there. So you got to think, MC Hammer was basically from there. Like with him and his brother, they probably are. That is East Oakland. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The Dangerous crew, Too Short, that's West Oakland. Like that's, so you talking about the trees as opposed to the digits. So, West Oakland is all the acorn and, you got Maple and you got all these there. And then you got East Oakland, which is its own different entity, 97th, 96, 102nd, you got all this other kind of stuff that goes on. So I can imagine. I wasn't, what I mean? I'm not from there like that. I'm from there, but I'm not from like that, so, there was definitely, I've heard a couple different stories about where people thought that Hammer was some kind of they're like, oh no, we fucked up, Probably how Eazy-E got AIDS, to tell you the truth. Like,
Hammer?
You looking at Suge Knight as being the enemy, but not from Hammer, but it's like, a lot of people try to disrespect Hammer, and it's like he's not that dude that you do that with.
Yeah, he even tried to step to Jay-Z when Jay-Z dropped a line. He's like, I lost $30 million like Hammer, but I'm like, Hammer, $30 million, you can't hurt me.
Right.
I messed up the word, but something like that. And
Hammer's like, I will beat your ass. He's like, I'm in shape.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm 40 and I will still fuck you up.
Billy blanks on that ass. Yeah. All right, so Brian, anything that you feel like I might have missed? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, we just got to do this again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to go make dinner. I'm really late for that. Not really late, but I gotta go cook up these chicken thighs.
Oh, nice. Well, one more time, I know right now we're in quarantine, but where can people? Do you perform usually regularly at Dead Crow?
Yeah. I do open mics. You know what I mean?
So the Thursday night joints?
I do the Thursday night.
So one of my boys, he also had a podcast. You know Fuzz got a podcast.
I didn't know Fuzz had a podcast.
Yeah, Grumpy Old Man. You should, I'll try to link y'all back up. Y'all link me up. He linked me with you, but you'll be great on his show.
Fuzz doesn't know how much of a fan I am of his music. Like, I fuck with his music for a while, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then, but also there's a podcast, Hunt for Greatness with Alex Hunt. I was thinking about getting him because he lives right down the street. Recording an episode with him tonight, but I might not do that. But he does Thursday nights open mic. I've been trying to get down there. White dude. I can only imagine what kind of stuff he does. But how important is like open mics and stuff like that for comedy?
They are essential. You know, either they bring your confidence level way up, or they bring you down to reality where you need to be, and you get to see. Don't be so surprised at what you might end up seeing. So some people come from out of town and they are vexed, and that's how I was when I came to Dead Crow. I was like, oh, this is just, I come from LA. It's a lot bigger of a comedy scene, and when I got here, I was inspired by the shit that I saw. Smaller towns could really bring it as far as comedy can go, and the inspiration. I'm like, oh, these guys are funny, and they still hungry. You know what I mean? Like, I've had to fight my way to try and stay relevant, and I'm still not the Don Dada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Down at the club, like, there's funny motherfuckers down there. I'm fans of most of them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And where can people find you at?
On Instagram at Granger9680, or you can find me on Facebook, Brian Granger, and just follow me on TikTok, please. Somebody I just need one TikTok follower to make my TikTok.
And then share it on Instagram.
Follow me on something. You follow me on Poshmark.
I don't even know what that is.
That's where you sell clothes and used clothes and weed. I'm on all the social media scales. Badu, you find me on OnlyFish.
All right. Well, Brian, man, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
During the pandemic.
Oh, and we shook hands.
Yeah.
Now you got it.
Yeah. We're going to go wash our hands. But yeah, make sure, I'm going to put it at the end, make sure you follow me, all the Brian Granger fans, IMOLT podcast.